right, we're here with our presidential candidates, Daniella Zemlak and Devon Peters. So my first question is similar to the questions I asked you before. What is your top issue?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
So my top issue, I think, is campus culture. The thing that I think that needs to change the most in our university is the way that, first of all, our students' union interacts with students, but also how students interact with each other. And so my goal for the year is to not only create a connection between URSU and students, but also create those networks and those connections between student groups and other student societies, students to students in general. And so that's kind of what my platform is based around and what my issues are based around as well.
All right, Devon?
My top issue is sort of approaching a similar problem, but from a different perspective. I think the organization needs to be built up. It needs to be stronger, and I've spent the last year doing that. And the way that ties into student experience is that when the organization is stronger, we've got better role models upstairs in the students' unions, we've got better training, we've got more funding, we've got more opportunities for people to put on events. And so I think that we improve all facets of student life by improving the students' union from the inside out.
All right. So what are some concrete goals you hope to accomplish?
So for myself, the first one I think that's relating to campus services would be extending the hours of our vendors on campus. I think that's really huge for students. We were able to do it short term last semester with the library as well as the daily grind to accommodate that, and I think that the university is very open to having that conversation, so I'd like to keep pursuing that. In terms of campus spirit, I think the big thing is getting the student societies more engaged with URSU and creating a stronger PAC. So my impression of PAC right now is that it's not a very authentic kind of place for your voice to be heard, and that's the feedback that I've heard. And so my goal is to strengthen PAC, because once you strengthen the presidents and their relationship with URSU, and then they trickle that down to their student societies, I think we're going to see a lot more positive output in the community and in the campus.
My goal is to maintain the surplus, keep another year of positive financial stuff going, but then also to take that and start to spend it in ways that are improving student life. It's student money after all, right? And so some of the things I've spoken about are establishing funding for international student societies that put on huge events and they don't get much back, and then also increasing the amount of funding we give to the societies on PAC so that they can do more. And then I've also said that I'd really like to start restoring the place of advocacy. Right now, Danielle and I on an ad hoc basis will go around and do meetings on things that we hear from students and things that we care about and that we think students care about, but we don't put any resources into it.
Yeah.
And so let's get ad campaigns going when the election comes around and get students out to vote, so that tuition is a campaign issue, right?
Now there's a UPass referendum coming up. What are your thoughts on that?
I'll let you take this one first.
I think that regardless of which way the UPass goes, we both have a professional obligation to carry it out and to do the best we can with it. So if it's a no, my intention is to drop it completely. And if it's a yes, I think I'm really well positioned to negotiate the best possible price. I've been at the table as these folks have been sort of working on the process for the past 6 months, a year, and I know all the faces and the players in the game. I've been to city council talking about it a couple of times, so that's sort of where I stand on it. I think that it would be a boon to students. I think the majority of students, if they're not using transit, will benefit from the reduced amount of cars on campus. But at the same time, that cost-benefit analysis isn't the same for everyone, and that's why we're not making the decision unilaterally. That's why we've got a referendum.
And I would just encourage students to make sure that you're looking through the referendum question. Something that students have asked me is, what is the actual price point? And there is none right now. We're not voting on a proposal, we're voting on a negotiation. So I would just encourage students to be critical thinkers of the referendum question, to ask hard questions to candidates, as well as to there's no side that's come out yet, but to the yes side, absolutely, and to just get information, because that's what's so important for a decision that really affects your pocketbook and affects the university, whether that's positive or negative. That's for a student to decide, but they should definitely get informed.
All right. So why do you feel that each of you are best for the position of president?
That's a good question. Okay, so I think last year when I ran for this position, I ran for it. I think Devon and I were completely opposite. Devon was really engaged with the organization, engaged on campus. I ran because my friends were like, you would be really good at this, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. I ran unopposed, and I saw the shift that I had in the year. It was a complete 180. I was all of a sudden incredibly passionate and incredibly fired up about this university. I think a skill that I have is I have a track record of getting things done, but I also am a connector. I know a lot of people. I always ask students, how many people do you know on this campus? We have a campus of 13 to 14,000 students. How many people do you know? Not a lot. We are a campus that you come here, you kind of do your thing, and you go home. What I can bring to the table is I can connect students together. I can unify the student body. I want it to be a collective. I want it to be a group effort, and I want to empower students to want to be leaders, just like I was empowered a year ago. And so I think that that's my biggest skill set. Is I think that passion is contagious, and I think that I can do a really good job of getting students engaged, but I also think that the way that I can bring students together and connect those students is going to really benefit them as they leave this university, as they network and build relationships for the rest of their careers. I can help them do that in a way that's meaningful and really affects their lives and their campus.
Okay. Devon?
The way I see it is that there's two important qualities that I've got. First off, I've got the experience. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I started out working on nonprofits on this campus when I was 18 years old, and I've been managing $100,000 plus nonprofits since then. This is obviously the biggest one at $4.5 million, but I've done hundreds of hours of training. I'm working on my professional director certification through Brown Governance, which is a master's level administrative course that you don't typically get until you're in your mid-40s. I've got experience with contracts, HR, Robert's Rules, the Nonprofit Act, the University of Regina Act, and I know like literally every single face on this university in terms of decision makers. I've been working with them and liaising with them for years. But the other side of it is that I'm in it for the long game. You know, we're very fortunate this year. We've got a couple strong candidates, and that's awesome. But the success of the organization can't depend on having a strong crop of candidates. It needs to have a strong year-over-year management team. And so my goal this year has really been, and my goal in the coming year, is empowering the staff and empowering the organization so that regardless of whether or not you get some keen, bright folks running, your students' union is going to continue to provide a high level of service. It's going to continue to develop itself, and it's going to be able to train and develop students so that they can be more engaged, regardless of whether or not you got your keeners there. And so that's sort of my thing, the experience in the long game. I don't know how I feel.
All right. Well, thank you. I wish you luck in the elections.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.
Have a good day.